to adapt your property strategy to the changing market. Welcome to Property Answers. That is the subject of today's show, and of course you'll be answered these questions by John and Ranjan. Welcome.
Hi there.
Good to be back.
It is indeed. So that is the topic of today, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. So let's kick it off, shall we, with the strategies. So first question for you, John. What recent developments have you observed in the UK property market that are worth noting?
Goodness me, that's a serious question. Whoever's come up with that, goodness, who's ever tuned in and given us that one, my goodness. Okay, so in my career, I've always tried to read the market a little bit, especially when things are going to get tough, and also adapt my strategy before everyone else. Right. So when other people are starting to do a lot of something, I'm normally coming out of that and onto another strategy where they're not. So for instance, going back many years, I used to buy houses already in flats. We used to quickly refurbish them and sell them off individually. Easy peasy peasy. Then everyone started doing that. Then we moved on to buying tower blocks, which might sound a bit, but in the 90s we were buying tower blocks where the local authority wanted to blow them up. We bought them for not a lot, refurbished them and sold them to first-time buyers. Then that sort of finished because the building societies were stopped lending on them and all sorts. And then we went on to doing a lot of grade 2 style listed buildings, converting them into flats, selling them off. Then we started doing offices to residential. Before PD really came about in 2000.
You jumped there, I was going to go, whoa.
Yeah, 2011. People were doing it before that, Ranjan. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So we were doing offices to residential, then people started getting the hang of that, so we move on again and again. And at the moment, we're buying a lot of part finished developments of receivers where developers have gone bankrupt because they're halfway through the building work, so we're buying the building work at a discount. And we're able then to finish it because building costs are so expensive. Unless you're in London and the home counties, it's virtually impossible now at the moment to buy land, build, because the build costs have gone up so much and make a profit. Mm-hmm. So that's an example of how I've, over my career, of course we do commercial as well and other things, but in my career that's really what I've done.
Yeah.
I think, property is a simple business, but nothing lasts forever. And you have to change things up a little bit. And I found that every 6 or 7 years, you have to change things up. Yeah. And that's usually because of a number of factors or a combination of factors. Sometimes it is genuine free market trends, market sort of consumer demand and that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's tax changes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's regulatory changes that cause you to cause you to have to change. So what I find is that what you really want to do in property is know when the going's good, but always accept that that is not going to last forever. Mm-hmm. So you're in a hurry. When the going's good, you're rinsing and repeating what works, and you're getting better and more profitable when you cookie cut what you're doing. But you've always got to have an eye and the mindset that this ain't lasting forever. You're going to have to switch it up, and that's either going to be because the market will move away in terms of trend and consumer taste. There'll be some kind of regulatory change or taxation change, because when the market is going really, really good, the regulators and the tax people want to curtail it usually. Yeah. So you've always got to have that eye that it ain't going to last forever, and keep an eye for what the next trend is.
Foresight. Move before everyone else.
Interesting. And how can you move before anyone else? Is that
anticipate the market, anticipate them, have a feel for it. You know, some people have got a feel for property and understand deals and trading and so on. Others don't. And if you haven't, don't be in the business.
Don't do it. Understood?
I think when you're looking at, there are lots of market indicators. Mm-hmm. There's, nowadays, if you like, more so when I got started, all you had was national averages in terms of statistics, and there was nothing there. These days with the internet, you've got everything. You've almost got data overload. Oh. And what it's really about is looking at what this data actually means to you as a property investor. So if there's a budget that's happened, What do those measures mean to you as a property investor? If a certain rule changes on planning permission or tax or regulation,
you're actually very good at all. You're very good. You're better than me at that, to be fair. But this data thing, I mean, people are just so data driven. You know what? Talk to an estate agent, talk to the neighbours, talk to the taxi driver. If you don't know the area, jump in a taxi. The taxi driver will tell you more about that area in 10 minutes and for £15 than anybody else will. Yep. You know? Get off your backside, stop messing around on a computer and get out there.
Absolutely. So Ranjan, then how do you remain proactive in identifying emerging trends and forecasting market shifts?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think one of the key things is I keep an eye out on what government is doing. Now, government have a massive problem at the moment. We're not building anywhere near as enough homes. I mean, this is one of the trends that's still working in our favour. There's a massive undersupply of properties. People are staying in single households much longer and all the rest of it. A lot of people coming into the country, so there's a massive shortage. The government are constantly looking to address that problem with new rules, and a lot of those recently have been new planning rules. So I would advise people to set up alerts on the government websites, to look at what planning consultations are being put out. And when they put out planning consultations, it's a consultation. Have your say. Yeah. A lot of people moan about it. Get involved. They say, we've got 6 weeks to consult. So you contribute to it and say, yes, 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 we love this idea, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, all the NIMBYs will take over and nothing will happen.
And you're left at the back,
So government trends, I mean, that's one aspect.
Well, what I was going to say is actually your local MP is there to hear what you've got to say and report it to Westminster. That's what an MP, part of an MP's job. So get hold of your MP, discuss things with them and say, look, there's lots of and they will go, hopefully, if they're any good, go and talk to the minister, whoever that might be, and say, look, I know you've got this consultation out, but a number of people in my constituency are saying da 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 da. So that's how it works.
Yeah, understood. So what key drivers do you believe are shaping the current path of the UK property market?
Well, I'm going to address this from a rental perspective because the property market, there's so many different aspects to it. But there is a massive shortage of rental properties in the UK. And when you address markets where there's a shortage and you can come up away with supplying that market and make a profit, then you have a good business strategy. So I think one of the areas that I'm most keen on is the rental market and creating affordable rental homes.
God, you're all heart, you are, aren't you? Have you just heard yourself?
Yes, I have. But,
and you honestly believe that? You actually believe that?
Yes, and what are affordable rental homes? Because at the end of the day...
Well, not all the ones you've got, that's for sure, are
they? Let me answer the question. The property is priced per square foot, whether it's rent per square foot or value per square foot. So if you can design a place within a certain square footage of space that gives all the utility that the market wants, then you can make affordable spaces.
Well, the government have made that harder because our great friend Nicholas Warwick, who's on Property Elevator with us, he was doing micro units, wasn't he, of 200 odd square feet or 20 square metres. But then the government then said minimum square footage 370 square feet or 37 square metres.
37 square metres.
Yes, we're going metres because I'm feet, doesn't make a lot of difference. So, which has messed up his strategy and now he's got a new strategy. But what I'm saying is, you know, if you've got older ones and you've got some older properties, you know, that you did a while ago, presumably they're 10 square metres are there.
I know what you're talking about. What you're talking about is the micro studio strategy. Which you know you really need 20 square metres.
In London, you're sweating that, but you can't do that anymore, can you?
You can't do the micro studio.
So you moved on to another strategy.
But one bedroom flats, 37 square metres is more than adequate.
Well, you don't live in a 37 square metre. I love you say that because you don't live in one of those, do you?
You know what? I'll tell you why.
You don't live in those.
These space standards. Where I mean, there's a couple of chaps, Parker Knowles or whatever. They were born in the 1960s.
Parker Knowles. I thought they made sofas and chairs.
I read it somewhere, but these space standards were formulated in the late 60s.
Yes.
Now, when
people were smaller then.
Well, the thing with those days, and even 20 years ago.
Well, you can remember those days, right?
Well, I don't remember the 1960s, late
Really?
60s, but even 20 years ago, if you look at tenants moving into properties, they'd have a load of cassettes, they'd have a VCR player, they'd have a TV, they'd have a computer. The TV was that deep. Nowadays, everything's on a tablet.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
No, the need for space has decreased. Because the stuff that people have...
Are you honestly serious?
People don't need a bookshelf full of books.
Are you serious?
30 years ago, people bathed horizontally.
I can't believe I'm hearing this.
Today, we're bathing vertically in showers. So
what?
You get the same utility out of less space than you needed back then. You only have to look at old furniture.
Spoken as a true landlord who wants to cram as many people and units into a building as possible.
Right. Who wants to optimise the floor space.
Optimise the floor space.
That works. You can't get away from the fact that in many areas, thanks to really planning policies that don't work, we ain't building enough homes. So the price of the properties per square foot is high. So to make them affordable, we have got to make them useful and livable and workable in a smaller space so that it's affordable.
So do you think then that the government should relax the current limit and reduce it back to where it was of 220 square metres and 37 square metres or not?
I don't think the government should interfere because I think there is a market for everything. Now, even when we had those limits, we built some micro studios, but we didn't build all our properties micro studios.
Of course you did. You thought they were too big, I should think.
No, but it depends on what the market wants. If you're in an area where the market's looking for 2-bedroom flats or 1-bedroom flats or studio, you will build.
I can see that working more in London than other places where square footage is so valuable. To be fair,
and to be fair, micro studios weren't really built in that sort of quantity.
But that's a great one for our viewers to come in on and say whether you think Ranjan is right that people these days need less square footage than they did because they don't have a bigger TV, don't have a big TV anymore or not. Because that's got to be a great one for people to comment on, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I think I should do. So if you do have a comment on that, please post it below. And also, if you have
I bet I'm right.
Well, we'll soon see. And if you have any questions yourself for John and Ranjan, then check out the biography in the link below.
I think John still has his collection of VHS cassettes and he's thinking about storing
I've still got some of those,
Only certain ones.
Everyone's
only my favourites, Ranjan. Only my favourites.
Well, you mentioned earlier about the government, but it's a general election year. How will that affect your property investment strategy?
I think that I like election years because when we look at the property market, it's driven by owner-occupiers. 90% of the property market in the UK is driven by owner-occupiers. And for owner-occupiers, buying a property is their biggest financial decision. And they tend to have a little bit of inertia at election year because they view it as an uncertain time. Yep. But property investors can say, well, you know what, a deal's a deal. And when the general property market is having that inertia, there are people that get motivated that they need to sell. And we often find that there are deals to be done when the general market may be a little bit uncertain.
John?
I wouldn't disagree with that. In any general election year, and I've got a number of estate agencies, and in any general election year, the market is subdued normally because people are cautious. And if there's two people looking to move up, say, into partners, life partners, whatever they're called now, or husband and wife or whatever. I'm sounding like a dinosaur probably.
No.
But if one of them doesn't really want to do it, and the other one's normally one pushing forward and one's a bit cautious. The cautious one has always got an excuse during general election year. Oh, well, we don't know who's going to be in government and all this business. They've got an excuse, and they use that to hold the other partner back, basically. And that's what we find. And actually, to the I hate to say average person, because there's no average people in this world. Everyone's got a special talent or whatever. But I find that it's really unlikely that a new government is going to have a massive effect on an owner-occupier. They might have a massive effect on property developers and landlords, but they're unlikely to have a super massive effect initially on a home buyer.
Yeah, I think that's summed it up. I think that's really good answers.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I hope that we have answered all of your property marketing trends and really helped you on this way. Stay tuned for more from Property Answers right here, and don't forget to like and subscribe.